Good morning and hello, third graders. Today we're going to go over all of the information that we learned about the government. So grab your government packet and I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. A lot of what we're going to go over today is going to be on your test. So make sure you think carefully about your questions as we talk about them. All right, let's go through some questions here to review. Which word means to say no to a bill? This is a vocabulary word that we talked about, that a person can say no to a bill. Is it citizens, laws, veto, constitution, Congress, or Supreme Court? Which one means say no to a bill? The correct answer is veto. Veto is to say no to a bill. The president can veto a bill that the legislative branch sends to him. Which word means people who live in a community? So which of these is a community word? We have citizens, laws, veto, constitution, Congress, and Supreme Court. Which one is the people who live in a community? The correct answer is citizens. Citizens are the people who live in a community. Which word means the highest court in the United States? The highest court. We have citizens, laws, veto, Constitution, Congress, and Supreme Court. Which is the highest court? Supreme Court. Remember, it is the highest or the Supreme Court in the land, the highest court in the land. Which word means the House of Representatives and the Senate together? Under the legislative branch, remember, it has House of Representatives and Senate. What is those two together called? Citizens, laws, veto, Constitution, Congress, or Supreme Court? The correct answer is Congress. Congress is the combination of the House and the Senate. Which word means rules made by a government? So this is the government making the rules. It would be citizens, laws, veto, Constitution, Congress, or Supreme Court. Which of these words is a law or a rule, made by government? Kind of just gave you the answer. It is laws. Laws are the rules the government makes. Remember, it starts off as a bill and has to go through all those steps of being approved by committees and then the Senate and the House and then sent to the president to decide. Which word means the document that gives the U.S. citizens rights and freedoms and details how our government works? So which of these is the document that basically lays out your freedoms and rights and our government? Citizens, laws, veto, Constitution, Congress, or Supreme Court? The correct answer is Constitution. Remember, our U.S. Constitution was written when we were founded, and it tells us our rules and our laws. It has amendments and tells us how the government is designed. How does the government get money to pay for government services? How do they pay for the fire department? How do they pay to get the things that we need, like roads and schools and libraries? Do they collect taxes from people, hold bake sales, print their own money, or work at a job to earn money? What does the government do? The correct answer, they collect the taxes from the people. We pay taxes on items we purchase and taxes on our paychecks so that the government can provide us our services. What is a democracy? That is the type of government we have. Remember, we have a democracy. Is it a form of government where a king rules? a form of government where the people have a say, or a form of government run by the police? Democracy is what the United States has. What kind of government is it? A government where people have the say, and we just experienced this with the election. People had a say in who they wanted to be president, to be in the Senate, to be in the House, to be judges. We had a vote and a say in our government. Why do communities have governments? What's the point of having a government? Is it to protect their citizens? To have elections every 4 years? To give the police and judges a job? To have power over the people? Why does a community have a government? They have a government to protect their citizens. Our government provides us our laws, rules, and our services to protect us. How many senators does each state have? Remember, the House of Representatives and the Senate have a different number of people from each state because they didn't want the states that were small to be left out or the large states to be overpowered. So they made a decision. How many does the Senate have from each state? The Senate sends 2. Remember, there's a total of 100 senators, 2 from each state. The House of Representatives has 435. What is another name for the president? What's another way we could call the president based off of his rules and jobs? Your Honor, Commander-in-Chief, King, or Vice President? What is another name for the president? We also call the president the Commander-in-Chief because remember, he is in charge of the military, and that's what that word Commander-in-Chief means. The President of the United States must, so these are the rules in order to be president. What are the rules? Be at least 35 years old, be a citizen of the United States for at least 14 years, be born in the United States. Or is it all of the above? They have to meet all of those criteria. What is the way that someone can become president of the United States? The correct answer is all of the choices. They have to be at least 35, be a citizen for 14, and be born in the United States. So the answer would be D, all of the choices. The president can hold office for, how long can someone stay president? Only 4 years, only 6 years, 4 years and they can run again for another 4, or 6 years and can run again for another 6. How long can someone be president? For 4 years and then can run again for another 4. Just like what Donald Trump did. He ran for 4, he was president for 4, and then he was up for election for another 4 years. After that, total of 8, then they can no longer be president. The president is part of which branch of the government? So this is talking about our 3 branches. What is the president a part of? Is it the judicial branch, executive branch, or legislative branch? The correct answer, executive. Remember, the president is in charge of the executive branch. Congress is part of which branch of government? Where does Congress fall in? Remember, Congress is the Senate and the House of Representatives. Is it the judicial branch, executive branch, or legislative branch? Congress is under the legislative branch. Remember, legislative makes the laws. The Supreme Court is part of which branch of government? Supreme Court, is it the judicial, executive, or legislative? The Supreme Court is part of the judicial branch. Remember, the judges are part of the judicial branch. Which level of government would make laws about things like where you can ride your bicycle on the sidewalk or if you can use fireworks? Now we're talking about our levels. We just did this. Is it the local, state, or federal level of government that would talk about bicycles and fireworks? The correct answer would be local. Our local government is in charge of the fireworks, bicycles, and little laws for our communities. Who is the leader of the executive branch of a state government? Important to pay attention to that. Remember that the state government is run by different than the federal and the local. Who is in charge at the state level? The correct answer is the governor. Governors are in charge of the state. Remember, a mayor is in charge of a local level. All right, now we're going to look at the branches and which branch would be in charge of different things or different jobs. So our choices are executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch. Who is in charge of the military? In charge of the military would be the executive branch. Remember, the president, commander-in-chief, is in charge of the military. Who meets with the leaders of foreign countries? Which branch meets with other countries? Is it executive, legislative, or judicial? The correct answer is executive. Remember, the president is in charge of meeting with those other countries and trying to work out treaties or peace agreements if necessary. Who decides if the laws are constitutional, meaning that they follow the Constitution? Is it the executive branch, legislative branch, or judicial branch? The group that decides if laws are constitutional is the judicial branch. Remember, they're the judges that look at laws to make sure that they follow the Constitution. Who can approve or veto Congress's bills? Remember, Congress sends the bills to someone and they approve or veto or say no to the bill. Which branch does that? Executive, legislative, or judicial? This is that balance of power, and it would go to the executive branch, the president. He can approve or veto a Congress law. Remember, if he vetoes, it goes back to the legislative branch, who then needs a 2/3 majority to pass it. Who makes the laws? Where that bill starts off and goes through the process, which branch does that happen in? Is it executive, legislative, or judicial? The branch that makes the laws is the legislative branch. Legislative makes the laws. Who carries out the laws? Make sure that the laws are followed. Executive, legislative, or judicial? The executive. Remember, they're the ones that execute the laws. Make sure that they are in place and carried out. All right, I hope you paid close attention to our review today. There's also a study guide, file, and picture that you may use when you go to take your test. Read the questions carefully or have them read to you. Think through the answers.